Have you ever noticed yourself leaning in just a little more during a conversation, pretending you heard what someone said, even though, deep down, you didn't quite catch it? Maybe you smile and nod, hoping they don't realize. Or maybe you've started turning up the TV louder than you used to, asking what, more often than you'd like. If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know, you're not alone, and you're not going crazy. Hearing loss is something so many people experience as they get older, but few of us talk about it. And honestly, I get it. It can feel frustrating, embarrassing, even isolating at times. But here's the truth, losing your hearing doesn't mean losing your independence, your confidence, or your joy. In fact, recognizing the signs and doing something about it can actually improve your quality of life in ways you might not expect. In this video, we're going to walk through a real, practical guide, not just about when to consider a hearing aid, but how to choose one that actually fits your needs and your lifestyle. And we're going to do it step by step, together. Because navigating hearing loss doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can actually be empowering if you have the right information and support. Let's begin with the first step, knowing when it's time to take your hearing seriously. Hearing loss doesn't happen overnight. It often creeps in slowly, so gradually that you might not even notice it at first. You might think people are mumbling more, or that the phone connection isn't clear, or that your grandkids just talk too fast these days. But here's the thing, those are often your first clues. One woman I spoke with, her name was Judy, 73, told me she didn't realize how much she was missing until one day, she sat through dinner with her family and didn't say a word. Not because she didn't want to, but because she couldn't follow the conversation. That moment hit her hard. I felt like I was behind a glass wall, she said. That's when she knew it was time to do something. If you find yourself avoiding social situations, feeling anxious about group conversations, or noticing that you're reading lips more than listening to words, these are signs worth paying attention to. And no, it's not just a normal part of aging to suffer in silence. Hearing is how we stay connected to the people we love. And you deserve that connection. The next step is getting your hearing checked by a professional. And no, I'm not talking about guessing based on online quizzes or asking your spouse if you're going deaf. I mean scheduling a hearing exam with an audiologist or hearing specialist who can actually measure your hearing levels and explain what's happening, clearly and kindly. Many people wait years before doing this, and in the meantime, they miss out on so many beautiful sounds, conversations, music, laughter, birds in the morning. But here's the good news, a hearing test is painless, usually quick, and gives you real answers. It's not a commitment to getting a hearing aid. It's just information, and information is power. I remember a man named Carl, 76, who put off his hearing exam for nearly a decade. When he finally went, he walked out and said, "I wish I had done this 10 years ago. I feel like I've been living in a tunnel." Just getting tested lifted a weight off his shoulders. And when he did eventually try a hearing aid, his face lit up like a light switch had been flipped. "It's like the world came back," he told me. And I want that for you, too. Because once you understand your hearing loss, you can finally make an informed decision, and that's where the process really becomes personal. Choosing a hearing aid isn't like buying glasses. It's not one size fits all. It depends on your hearing level, your lifestyle, your budget, and honestly, your comfort. But don't worry, we're going to take it step by step. For now, just ask yourself, am I missing out on conversations I used to enjoy? Have I withdrawn a little because listening feels harder than it used to? Am I ready to explore a solution that could reconnect me to the world? If your answer is yes to even one of those, you're already on the right path. Let's keep going. Because life is too precious to live it in silence, especially when help is closer than you think. When you've taken that first important step, getting your hearing checked and understanding where you stand, you might feel a mix of relief and hesitation. Relief, because now you know what's really going on. But hesitation, maybe, because the next step feels a little intimidating. I hear it all the time. How do I know which hearing aid to choose? What if it's uncomfortable? What if it doesn't work? And those questions are completely valid. That's why the next part of this journey is about understanding your lifestyle, because hearing aids today aren't just about volume. They're about fitting into your life in a way that feels natural, supportive, and almost invisible. Let me explain. Not everyone needs the same kind of hearing help. For example, if you love spending time outdoors, walking, gardening, or chatting with neighbors at the park, you'll need a hearing aid that handles wind and background noise. If you spend a lot of time on the phone or watching TV, there are models that connect to Bluetooth and give you clearer, more direct sound. And if you prefer something discreet and easy to manage, there are tiny devices that tuck into the ear and are barely noticeable. So before you even try one on, take a moment to ask yourself, what does a regular day in my life look like? Do I go out often or stay mostly at home? Do I like being social or prefer quiet time? Am I active and on the move, or do I want something simple that just works? A man I know, Ron, 71, lives in a quiet rural area with his wife. He spends his mornings on the porch reading and his afternoons watching classic movies. When he got his hearing aid, all he needed was something comfortable, with great clarity for voices and television. But his brother, Mark, who's the same age, still works part-time, goes to community meetings, and travels. Mark needed a different model, one with smart features and background noise filtering. Same age, same family, completely different needs. That's why this step is so important. Your hearing aid should match your life, not the other way around. Once you've got a sense of what you need, the next part is trying a hearing aid in real life, not just in a sterile office, but in your own space, with your own sounds. And yes, this is absolutely something you can do. Most hearing centers offer free or low-cost trial periods where you can test out the device, wear it at home, and truly feel how it fits into your life. Now here's where I want to be very honest. The first few days might feel strange. Your brain has to relearn how to hear certain sounds. It's not always instant magic. Some people put on a hearing aid and say, it's like the world came back. Others say, everything sounds loud and weird. And both are normal. You might notice the ticking of your clock again, the hum of the fridge, the rustling of papers. These are sounds your brain tuned out years ago, and now they're back. But don't worry, your mind will adjust. It usually takes a couple of weeks. Think of it like breaking in a new pair of shoes, a little awkward at first, but soon they feel like they were made just for you. It's also really helpful during this trial period to keep notes, jot down what's working, what's bothering you, when you feel the best, and what moments feel frustrating. Then bring that back to your hearing specialist. They can fine-tune your device, change settings, or even try a different model if needed. Don't be afraid to speak up. This is your hearing, your life, and you deserve to feel good about the solution you choose. And let me say this clearly, there's no shame in wearing a hearing aid. None. In fact, it's one of the most empowering decisions you can make. It says, I care about staying connected. I care about my relationships. I care about my quality of life. That's something to be proud of. I once met a woman named Linda. She was 68 when she got her first hearing aid, and she told me that for years, she'd been embarrassed to even consider it. I thought it would make me look old, she said. But after just one family dinner where she could finally hear the laughter at the other end of the table, she realized something. What made me feel old, she said, was missing out. This makes me feel alive again. That moment stuck with me. Because hearing loss doesn't have to be a limitation. It can be the beginning of a new kind of clarity, one where you get to be fully present again, in conversations, in music, in life. And remember, this process isn't about rushing or picking the fanciest device. It's about listening to your needs, trying things at your pace, and working with someone who respects your lifestyle. You've already done the hard part by showing up for yourself and being open to this journey. And now, you're just a few thoughtful steps away from hearing the world more clearly again. Let's keep going, because there's one more step, a final, powerful decision that can turn this from a one-time fix into a long-term joy. And that final step, the one that truly ties everything together, is making hearing care part of your regular life, not just a one-time fix. Because like any other part of your health, your hearing needs checkups, adjustments, and attention over time. A hearing aid isn't something you just wear and forget. It's something you build a relationship with. You learn how it works, how it helps you feel, how it changes your days. And just like glasses, it might need small changes now and then. Maybe a volume tweak, a cleaning, a new battery, or a quick appointment to fine-tune the sound. That's all normal. But here's what's not normal: living in silence when there's help available. You wouldn't ignore your eyesight if things started to blur. You wouldn't skip your heart medication if you needed it. So don't ignore your hearing. Because your hearing doesn't just help you listen, it helps you connect. With family. With friends. With the little joys in life you might not even realize you've been missing. I met a man named Joe, 79. After getting his hearing aid, he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "It's not just that I hear better, it's that I feel seen again. Like I'm part of the world again." He said conversations stopped being work. His wife stopped having to repeat herself. He started smiling more, even laughing again. And honestly, that's the part no one really talks about, the emotional side. Hearing loss can make you feel disconnected, like you're fading into the background. But taking action, getting tested, trying a device, staying consistent, it puts you back in the center of your life. It gives you the confidence to speak up again, to enjoy the punchline of a joke, to answer the phone without dread. You deserve that. You deserve to hear your grandchildren's voices clearly. You deserve to watch a movie without subtitles. You deserve to walk outside and hear the birds again. And it all starts with that simple, powerful decision to say yes to your hearing. Now, I know this might still feel like a big step. You might be wondering if it's too late, if it's worth the cost, or if it'll really make that much of a difference. And I want to tell you this: it's not too late. It is worth it. And yes, it can absolutely change your life in ways you didn't expect. You don't have to struggle in silence. You don't have to nod your way through conversations or feel left out at the dinner table. You don't have to feel alone in a room full of people. You can take back control. Start by booking that hearing exam. Talk to a specialist you trust. Try a device that suits your lifestyle. And give yourself the time to adjust, with patience and grace. You've made it this far in life, through ups and downs, through change, through growth. This is just another small step toward living with more clarity, more joy, and more connection. If this video helped you or gave you something to think about, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and share your experience, whether you're just starting to notice hearing loss, already using a hearing aid, or supporting someone you love through it. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and like this video, and subscribe for more real, helpful conversations designed just for life after 60. You don't have to settle for missing out. Not when the world is still full of sounds waiting for you: conversations, laughter, music, birds, rain, life. Here's to hearing more. Here's to living more. And here's to you, because you're worth it.